Coming up on Arirang News, South Korea imposes new restrictions on gatherings and is discouraging travel at the holidays to stop a huge potential surge in COVID-19 infections. The European Union is getting ready to roll out the vaccine made by Pfizer, with the one by Moderna to come early in the new year. But dozens of countries are cutting off travel from the UK, where a new variant of COVID-19 is spreading fast. And the South Korean government announces that it's going to put close to 500,000 homes on the market next year by building new ones and leasing out others that are publicly owned. The goal is to cool down the local property market. It's 5 p.m. here in Seoul. Thanks for tuning in to Arirang News. I'm Devin Whiting. For the second day in a row, South Korea has recorded fewer than 1,000 cases of COVID-19. To keep the virus from spreading at Christmas and New Year's, the authorities have decided to impose strict new rules on gatherings and are discouraging travel. Paeon-ji reports.
South Korea reported 869 new COVID-19 cases on Tuesday. Of them, 824 were locally transmitted. With the Christmas holiday season coming up, health authorities are concerned that this could make the COVID-19 situation worse. To prevent another explosive surge in infections, the Korean government has announced new special prevention measures that will be imposed nationwide from December 24th to January 3rd. During this period, winter sports facilities, ski resorts, and popular year-end tour spots will be shut down. Hotels and guest houses will only be allowed to have half their rooms available to encourage travelers to cancel their plans. Department stores and large supermarkets will be required to do temperature checks on all shoppers and will not be able to offer samples of food or drinks. Nursing homes and mental care hospitals will have to restrict visitors, and workers in these facilities are banned from attending private gatherings. Some officials are likening these measures to using tweezers to precisely target places that could become virus hotbeds.
The purpose of these special prevention measures is pretty clear. We ask everyone to cancel all holiday travel plans and personal gatherings and stay home.
There were 24 new deaths on Tuesday, the second day in a row that the country has seen the highest number of deaths in a single day since the outbreak began. Paeon-ji, Arirang News.
President Moon Jaein addressed concerns today about when South Koreans will have access to a vaccine, saying they won't be particularly late in getting it since it's natural to a degree that the countries that develop the vaccines get them first. Officials have indicated that South Korea is likely to start vaccinations in the first quarter of the new year. President Moon was speaking at the Blue House to top officials, including the Prime Minister and the heads of the nation's top courts. Also, he said South Korea is expected to be one of the few countries whose economy can recover to where it was before the pandemic, though it will take some time for small business owners and the self-employed. The United States is now administering a second vaccine, this time the one made by Moderna. Millions of doses have been sent out in just the past day. There are also more doses en route of the vaccine made by Pfizer. Kim Yo-sun reports.
U.S. President-elect Joe Biden and his wife Jill Biden on Monday received their first doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine live on TV.
And one of the things is that I think that the administration deserves some credit getting this off the ground with Operation Warp Speed. I also think that it's worth saying that this is great hope. I'm doing this to demonstrate that people should be prepared when it's available to take the vaccine. There's nothing to worry about.
Their vaccination came on the same day as the country's rollout of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccines. A nurse who received the Moderna vaccine at a hospital in Connecticut said she volunteered to be vaccinated to help reassure others.
It's important to me because I feel like there's a lot of hesitancy in my community about getting this vaccine. And I want people to feel comfortable getting the vaccine, knowing that it is okay. This vaccine is safe.
This follows the U.S. FDA's emergency approval late last Friday, becoming the first country to give a green light to Moderna's vaccine. It also comes exactly a week after the U.S. began administering the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. Initial inoculations will be provided to healthcare providers, as well as care home residents and staff. During a news briefing Monday, U.S. officials stressed that more vaccines will be distributed going forward, significantly widening the initial push to immunize Americans.
As the Secretary highlighted, for Moderna, the 5.9 million that's going out to over 3,400 locations, and then the additional 2.1 million for Pfizer going out to another 1,000 locations. So over 4,000 locations will be receiving vaccines between today and tomorrow.
America's vaccination plan comes amid fast spread of the virus throughout the country, infecting nearly 18 million people so far. Kim Yo-sun, Arirang News.
The EU has approved the use of the Pfizer vaccine as well to be administered from this coming Sunday. Experts say the existing vaccines will work against the new strain of the virus in the UK. But in the meantime, more than 40 countries have banned UK arrivals. Lee Seung-jae has more.
The European Union on Monday approved use of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine, finalizing the recommendation of the EU drugs regulator, who earlier in the day granted it conditional marketing authorization. The head of the European Commission confirmed the authorization and called it an important chapter in the fight against the pandemic.
Today we add an important chapter in our fight against COVID-19. We took the decision to make available for European citizens the first COVID-19 vaccine. We granted conditional market authorization to the vaccine produced by BioNTech and Pfizer.
She added that the first batches would be shipped from Pfizer's manufacturing site in Belgium in the coming days, with vaccinations to begin on Sunday. As previously announced, the vaccines will be available for all EU countries at the same time. As for Moderna's vaccine, opinion on that will be issued on January 6th. With fear over a new strain of the COVID-19 virus out of Britain, German Health Minister Jens Spahn insisted the approved Pfizer vaccine is still effective against the new variant. More than 40 countries have now banned arrivals from the UK over fears the new strain will spread to their countries. This includes flights to Canada, India, and Spain. The state of New York has also banned all UK arrival flights. France has shut its borders to the UK for 48 hours, meaning no lorries or ferries can leave from the port of Dover. The new strain in the UK is said to be up to 70% more transmissible than the current strain, but there's no evidence it's more deadly. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
In yet another attempt to cool down the overheated real estate market, the South Korean government says it's going to supply 460,000 homes next year by building new ones and leasing out others owned by the Public Housing Corporation, LH. This is according to Finance Minister Hong Nam-ki, who said Tuesday that 278,000 of the homes will be in the greater Seoul area, and 168,000 of those will be brand new apartments. Those include 83,000 homes in the city of Seoul itself, of which 41,000 will be new units. Hong said the plan will be reviewed depending on market conditions and demographic changes. Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon. And for that, I'm joined on the line by Mr. Daniel Yu, Global Strategist at Yuanta Securities. Mr. Yu, good to have you back on.
Good afternoon.
Well, Congress is finally passing new stimulus, but still stocks on Wall Street were down overnight, it seems, on the new variant of COVID-19 in the UK. This seems to be why South Korean stocks are down today, too. What's the story in the markets?
Yes, Wall Street closed quite mixed in a very volatile session yesterday, as the new COVID-19 strain caused the UK to lock down, and maybe people are concerned that that might happen to most of the other countries. However, though, the market has recovered from the very sharp fall in the morning, as on the domestic side, the Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin told CNBC that the stimulus money will go out as soon as next week, with lawmakers expected to vote on the relief and funding bills as of now. I think it's already passed. On the corporate side, you had a mixed signals coming as the Nike showed a quite significant rise in prices, while the Tesla, which just got entered to the S&P 500, has become quite a bit of a I guess, the fifth largest weighting in that index, and because of that, there was quite a bit of a profit taking, and that has resulted into 6% drop of Tesla. All in all, it was quite a volatile trend, and that has resulted into Korea, as well as most of the Asian countries, have suffered today, as the cost beat fell by about 1.6% and cost down by 2.6%. Interestingly, particularly on the semiconductor side, Korea is the biggest sector, obviously had quite a bit of a dent today. Because Samsung Electronics might not be investing as aggressively as people were hoping for. But after the line check, I think that's kind of overstated. We think that next year of 2021 will be quite a good year for the semiconductor business. Therefore, the current correction in global market as well as Korean market is definitely quite a good opportunity to invest in on cheap prices.
Well, Mr. Yu, oil prices have taken a bit of a hit now because of the new coronavirus variant, it would seem. West Texas down about $1 and some change from yesterday, but it's still quite a bit higher over the past month. What do you see happening with oil?
Right. If you look at the oil prices, have been coming up since the COVID-19 was as down as about $20 per barrel. Now it's all the way up to about $47 per barrel, and the Brent is up about to $51 per barrel. Now, I think the two factors kind of affected in the recent correction is because, number one, the dollar that has been very, very weak over the last several months, and recently, after it fell below 90 territories in dollar index, has recovered to now about 90.5 or so. Clearly, this is because I think that the passive understanding about the dollar with the boosting measures, the people were concerned about the debt level of U.S. and that might result into weaker dollars. But now with the actual passing of this bill to boost the economy, almost 900 billion won worth of boosting measure to the fiscal side, I think that people are expecting the economic recovery will happen. If the economic recovery happens, then inflation numbers will be better and relatively better, and that would result into the dollar appreciation rather than depreciation, and that has resulted into somewhat of a weaker oil prices. On top of that, as you said, there's a concern about this new strain of COVID-19. I don't think that it's a major issue. I think that the vaccine will cover this, and that I think there's a political issue that's going on between EU and UK. But all in all, I think that economic recovery will gradually happen, and that will probably have a positive implication for the oil prices in a medium to longer term. But in the short term, because of this COVID-19 strain news that the winter time, the consumption numbers might not coming through as people hope for, they're all resulting into negatively into the oil prices movement. In any case, we think that the oil price is not going to go through the roof as we've seen in the past because the inflation number is not going to be that aggressive, and therefore I think the oil price anywhere between $45 to $55 will be the range bound probably in the future.
All right, we're almost out of time, Mr. Yu, but Korea's producers' prices last month unchanged from the month before. Rising oil prices offset by falling prices of agricultural goods. Tell us about that and what impact do you think that might have?
Yeah. Simply put, this producer price index coming in flat, which is slightly better than the expectation of 1% fall, is indicating that the inflation is there, but it's not going to be aggressive one. All in all, as you can see, the oil price rise was offset by the falling prices of farm products. And I think that in general, I think the overall price is not going to go up that much, but it's not a deflation environment as the COVID-19 vaccine comes through and the boosting measure that becomes effective. We think that the prices will gradually go up in the future.
All right, Mr. Yu, thanks so much for coming on today and sharing your insights. Appreciate it always.
Thank you very much.
New data show that 1 in 5 people who took parental leave from work in 2019 were men. According to Statistics Korea, 159,000 people took parental leave last year, more than double the number who did so at the start of the decade in 2010. At that time, men accounted for just 3% of them, but last year that rose to nearly 20%. Taking parental leave was more common at bigger companies. Around 63% of people who did so worked for companies with 300 or more employees. The city of Seoul opened a pop-up store last month selling all kinds of products branded with the city's logo, I Seoul You, and now they've donated the proceeds. On sale were items ranging from I Seoul You coffee cups to stationery and even clothes. They made a little over $1,600, which has now been donated to the Seoul Council on Social Welfare, which will use it to help the underprivileged. The donation was delivered by the city's mascot, Haechi, and you can see the ceremony on the city's YouTube channel, Haechi TV. And that brings us to the end of this newscast. Thank you for watching. More live news coming your way at 7 p.m. Korea time.